I'd certainly no shortage of talking points to get stuck into from the action in Perth on Sunday afternoon. I was hoping we could avoid any mention of referees and judiciaries and things for at least a little bit, and focus on the good parts of the performance. So I think you got something you want to get off your chest there, Paul?
First of all, I really enjoyed the fact that we had afternoon footy. How good was it to see the All Blacks and the Wallabies playing under sort of just the bright sunshine, bit of a crowd there as well. I just thought it was a great sort of spectacle, just a nice. It was sort of like I remember it when I was growing up. That's when Test match rugby was played in the middle of the afternoon, and club footy used to be played earlier in the day, or it was put off for a week sort of thing. So no, I really enjoyed it, and I wouldn't mind a wee bit more, especially if it's middle of the afternoon in Perth, which is a great time for us because it's around 6 o'clock or so our time. It was a great sight.
Yeah, no, it was. Then Optus Stadium always seems to put on a show as well. It seems like a great venue they've got it over there in WA. I also enjoyed beforehand they had the flashback to the 96 Test at Athletic Park, which maybe not quite the same weather conditions as we saw on Sunday afternoon, but afternoon footy in one way, shape or form certainly got me longing for the old days of the Athletic Park. But also keen
that was the first sports betting event. Was that the one where Michael Jones scored the first try?
Yeah, I think Pine Tree got the first few bets on it. Was it Robin Brooke and Josh Kronfeld, first try scorer, and All Blacks 13 plus or something? The first of the sports bets place right. With the TAB. But I'm trying to keep the things a little bit more current. We'll work it back to Perth.
Nothing wrong with reminiscing, Patrick.
Yeah, check our other podcast feed for the historic rugby tales. It seems like the second week in a row we've managed to go off on a massive tangent. But Steve, I'll throw it to you. One thing I did want to ask, as man who's played the most high-level footy out of any of us by quite some distance, if you were taking a high ball like Geordie was in that game there and tried to kick a guy in the face like he did, how many times out of 100 do you reckon you could actually pull it off?
Yeah. Look, I'm athletically not quite as gifted as Geordie, so I probably wouldn't have got as high. So I'd have probably been kicking Kiribati somewhere else, but it wouldn't have been as high as the head. But it's been talked to death this week, the whole thing. But it is very much how you are coached to take a high ball. And I think we were probably part of a series against South Africa in 2008 or 2009 where they were just raining bombs on us. And we actually got a fair bit of coaching halfway through that series by Mick Byrne, who was the kicking coach and the Aussie rules expert amongst us. And that was all we were trained to do. Just get up, get your knee out and push off with your leg. And I guess the idea of pushing off is when you're actually in a contest with somebody. But the fact that Geordie actually wasn't up with anyone, obviously it accentuated how bad the kickoff went. But, I mean, he's got off, and that's great. But, it had the potential to derail things a bit there.
Yeah, it was certainly a relief it was the 20-minute red card instead of a 60-minute red card, because you're certainly getting flashbacks to 2019 pretty quickly. Although I think that is about the most shocked of a reaction as I've seen to someone getting a red card in any sort of football in quite some time. But I was pretty.
Do we like that the 20-minute? Oh, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I almost think there's room for both, right? Like, because there was clearly no intent there. Call that an orange card or something, but I don't think you deserve to lose a guy for 60 minutes and be playing with 14 for the rest of the game. But I think there is also, like, if you get a guy standing on a guy's head in a ruck or just throwing a haymaker, you probably shouldn't be getting a guy back 20 minutes later. So maybe there is.
You should be down to 14 for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, you can get sent off for anything these days. Like if you and I'll say that I know flippantly, but if you get your tackle height just wrong and they slow it down enough, and you're a big man who can put force into a shoulder and the shoulder hits someone's chin or neck or head, the referees have to send you off. So, as you said, there's a big difference there, Patrick, between kicking someone in the face deliberately and punching someone in the face deliberately, as opposed to what Geordie did or as that sort of tackle scenario. So I think there is actually room for, you're gone and your team's down for 20 minutes, or you're gone and you're not replacing them. I think there is actually room, but you'll have to come up with another coloured card, won't you? So
Yeah, no, I think we've got enough problems sort of marshalling all the laws we've got at the moment. No need to. Yeah, I know.
We're trying to make the game simpler.
The NRL bunker's got a bit of spare time on their hands now. It's only 4 games a week over there. Maybe they can lend a few spare hands and get policing things over in Queensland. But yeah,
I think that's a good idea. If you want to trial any sort of rule changes, put them through the NRL bunker first, and if they don't stuff them up, you know that the new rule is set in stone. It's fantastic.
Well, Sansa seems to love using, or stealing rules from the NRL, like goal line dropouts and 50-20s and all sorts of nonsense. So maybe they will, go with that. But more, I think, focusing on some of the positives from the performance on Sunday afternoon, which there were plenty. One man I know you were super impressed with, Richard, was Akira, who had an absolutely barnstorming showing out as a sort of blindside flanker / outside centre for a lot of the game. Where I think I was listening back to the last podcast you joined us for, Steve, and where sort of the 6/8 jersey was one of the biggest talking points around the whole All Black season. Richard, do you think Akira has probably nailed that down for the foreseeable future now after that performance on Sunday?
Oh, you'd have to say, at least for now, that was just, he was on another level, and it was just, he was everywhere. He was putting big hits in, the pace of him, the strength with him, ball in hand, he was really playing that sort of ball running big number 6. So obviously it'd be silly not to at least start him for the next couple of games, and I don't know whether he'll be playing like that every game, but he's definitely got one hand on that jersey for now, at least, I'd say.
Yeah,
absolutely. Wasn't too bad as well.
No, it goes to show what a difference chucking him back on the wing makes. He was the chase down tackle. Was it on Callaway late on to keep the
Banks? I think maybe.
Yeah.
Banksy,
it was absolutely rapid there. But Steve, keen to hear your thoughts. Though I imagine the All Blacks have probably got at least sort of one eye towards those 2 clashes with the Springboks looming in a fortnight's time. Obviously, a very different challenge forward pack wise. They're going to present. Do you think Akira is as well suited to taking on the likes of Dwayne Vermeulen and Sia Khaleesi as he is the Wallabies loose forwards?
Well, that's the thing. Akira's, taken a bit of a path to get where he is now. And, I keep saying back, because obviously I'm on an award-winning radio show too, so Akira Ioane keeps coming up. But I say, Liam Messam, Jerome Kano, both of our last sort of 6s who have played over 50 caps in that jersey, they all took forever to solidify that role, and it's a position that obviously takes age to get to where you need to. And they were both athletic sort of freaks themselves, like Akira was. So I think there's a lot of similarities there. Akira had probably a little bit more off the ball stuff that he probably needed to get sorted, the niggle stuff, learning when to do that's probably been a big thing for Akira. But no, I think
you always want to be doing that.
Well, you got to do it smartly. He's got to take a leaf out of his lock Brody Retallick on how to do it properly. But as far as Akira, he was amazing in the weekend. About South Africa, South Africa's going to be a different game, but you have to pick him. He has to be 6 because he's been outstanding against Australia. And it's going to be a different sort of game where he's going to prove himself to be probably a tighter, more physical. But he deserves the crack, in my opinion. He's done a great job against Australia. So why not give him a crack against the Springboks and say, right, you might have to front physically more against these guys in the tighter stuff and see how that goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he's certainly not going to shy away from the confrontation against the South Africa, though, right? At least that he will. He's certainly going to be happy to get involved. And he's absolutely earned the chance in the 6 jersey for at least the next few weeks, you think, depending on rotations and whatnot. But another guy also who really stood out to me again there was another jersey we maybe weren't so sure who was going to be putting their claim towards was the 12 jersey, but David Havili, another try, another pretty outstanding performance defensively and distribution-wise as well. I thought, do you think he's got that midfield spot locked down as well next to Anton Lienert-Brown?
Yeah, I think the 12 and 13 are all sorted now. Havili, I was really impressed with his work defensively. I know he scored a try and looked good doing it, but I thought when the All Blacks didn't have the ball, he was very, very good in that defensive line. To be fair, the All Blacks as a whole were very, very good defensively. I had a look at a few of the stats, and the Australians had the edge on possession, and the Australians had the edge on territory, which sort of suggests that they didn't have too much trouble getting into the All Blacks half, but they had trouble scoring points or converting that sort of pressure into points when they were down there. And it also sort of points towards the fact that when the All Blacks got the ball, they scored quite a few long-range tries, and I think just about all of them were long-range tries. So when they got the ball, they made use of it, and they may have only been in the opposition 22 or half for just a brief moment, but they turned that moment into points. And that was the big difference between the two teams, I think. I think the All Blacks, defensively, they were very, very good, especially in their own half. And when they did get the ball, they made use of it. They had players who could create things out of nothing, and that went for the bench as well. We saw TJ come on and set up that try for Bridge.
To George Bridge was just
that was
right off the left foot as well, not on balance. Yeah,
it's still got to sit up, but if you put the ball in the right spot, then you're giving your teammates a chance to pounce on opportunities. And so it was a very, very good all-round All Black performance. I think their best performance of the season so far, especially under the circumstances, having to be down a man for 20 minutes. It was, I couldn't find much of a weak spot. I think the scoreline sort of flattered the Australians slightly. They got that a try late when the game was all gone anyway. So huge big tick for the All Blacks in that performance. Yeah, I thought they were sensational.
Yeah, a late try to push the margin back into that 11 to 20 range. So not always
Indeed,
gone.
But not quite enough for the 16.5 punters.
Yeah, no, but we did warn everyone the pick and go curse had well and truly taken care of that one.
And it did.
Well before Sunday afternoon, yeah. But we shout out a couple of sort of key performers there. Is there anyone else the panel wants to touch on who they thought stepped up on Sunday afternoon or has been big the last couple of tests? Throw it out to the floor if anyone has any names on the top of their head.
I thought Shallock had a great game. He's just doing his usual stuff, but he's just ageless, like he's just getting better and better, and he was just sort of, as we were talking about before, that he just knows when to get that little bit of physicality and then niggle in there. But yeah, I just but yeah, I just did want to shout him out because I thought that he was one of my standouts as well.
Yeah, certainly you're starting to see the old Brody from 2018, 2019 get in. Might have taken a little while to get back from top league level to rugby championship level, but it's you're starting to see the flashes as well and a bit of the stuff around the park. Hopefully we might get to see another show and go like we saw at ANZ Stadium a couple of years back in the next month. But yeah, I think with Sam Whitelock obviously still over the side of the Tasman, it's great to see him really stepping up in that second row. And seemed like you had another name is on the tip of your tongue as well, Paul.
I was just going to mention McDermott for the Australians.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was by far and away their best player, and if they just had another one or two who were in the same sort of frame of mind as him, that game could have been and should have been a lot closer. I thought he had a huge game, and it's something for them to work on to work around him to make sure that when he makes a break, he's got sort of options either side so that they can then translate that sort of pressure into points, which they just couldn't do at the right time in Perth last weekend. So yeah, he was right up there, but he wouldn't look out of place in All Blacks jersey, and you don't say that much about an Australian, but he was very, very good.
Yeah, no, he certainly has that little bit of X factor that I think the Wallabies certainly need. It seems like they are. I did want to touch on them though, because this obviously the third test now they've played against the All Blacks in succession, seventh in about the last 12 months, certainly not much longer than that. And they did get the one win and the one draw last week, but probably three fairly comprehensive losses they've taken so far. Steve, to your eye, are you seeing a lot that suggests they are improving? They're starting to. Dave Rennie was saying with structures a lot on Sunday at about 8:15. Are you seeing those sort of areas? Is there a lot you're seeing from them to give you some positives?
Yeah, my respect and love for Dave Rennie is high, so I certainly would like to think they're improving for him more than anything. But there's no hiding from the fact that they have got a major issue at 10. And for as good as McDermott was, as good as Karevi was, there's nothing getting done inside them and outside them. And Renz has gone all in on Lolesio, and through necessity more than anything. But there's talk O'Connor could be back this week. If not O'Connor, then for me you have to roll the dice on Hodge. He came on for 20, and I'm not the biggest fan of Hodge anyway, but I think you look around Australian rugby, I can't see anyone that's going to win them a test match at the moment against a big team. Lolesio is not going to win you a test match against the All Blacks or South Africa. The poor fella's trying his guts out, but you can look in his eyes. You look in his eyes when the cameras flash to him at times, and he is, unfortunately, I think he probably just doesn't want to be there at the moment. Realistically,
no, only has to worry about taking on the Springboks this week as well. So it doesn't get any easier.
That could be scary for him because that is going to be a forward pack. He is probably going to be playing off the back foot, and if you're battling for confidence as a 10, there's nothing worse than them to be going backwards. I think Renz has to roll the dice on a Hodge, or if O'Connor's 80% fit, then O'Connor, you're getting told you're out there.
Yeah, I do like the idea of Reece Hodge. I actually touched on him before. I think it was the second Bledisloe Test, because now, especially with McDermott and Karevi back either side of him, you can rely on those guys, and a Korobidi, even a Lena Katau, I think, has got a lot of promise.
Hodge is a big body, and if he attacks the line with McDermott, say off line outs, and you're bringing Karevi with you, then you don't have to do much, and then you've already achieved gain line. And so we know once you're across the gain line, then everything else flows from there. But, you look at all these intercepts that the Wallabies are throwing. It's all because they're doing stuff off stagnant ball, and you can't operate attack off stagnant ball, but they're just making silly decisions off it, So, they just need to somehow get some gain line and bringing people. And Hodge can carry himself, just run off McDermott, and just go, and then everyone else can flow off that. But he's not a natural 10, Hodge, but I think right now he's the 10 that the Wallabies have to go to if O'Connor's not right.
Yeah, no, I think it certainly seems like there is something that you just look at, even the place kicking and a few of the decisions Lolesio's making. It seems like he's certainly that was it the 4-on-2 overlap, but when Geordie was in the bin at about the 30th minute, they head down the far end where instead of just going through the hands, he chucks the kick about 5 meters over the sideline. Yeah, no,
he got a few glares from the teammates there too, which is never a good sign.
Yeah, and because he's still so young, you got to think he does have promise, right? You don't want to completely ruin him like we've seen with so many prospects in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever get glares from your teammates, Beaver?
Yeah, look, occasionally, but I never had the guts to do too many of those cross kicks, to be honest. They would get the ball even if they didn't want it half the time.